Can harmony exist when there's competition? Published on November 18th, 2016. This is a follow-up to the sun and the moon. I felt the need to apply the concept of the sun and the moon living in harmony to our human race. I'm hoping that this will help my point make more sense. What was my point? The point in my last post was that the sun and the moon are very different and necessary to our planet, and feel that if they were living creatures, they would continue understanding their differences and continue living in harmony. Maybe harmony is the wrong term to use, as I'm approaching the relationship as if the sun and the moon were fond of each other. For all I know, they don't care to even look at each other, which is even more of a reason to admire their dynamic. Why? Well, because they can agree to disagree and proceed with their duties. Now, I'm fully aware that I'm trying to apply a concept described using two inanimate objects to our very complex species. But in my head, it makes sense. Am I alone in this? Call me a dreamer, but my heart believes that if people could agree to disagree and leave it at that, no additional bullshit such as name-calling, the energy in the world would shift majorly. I know it's not that simple. I'm a consciously cautious optimistic, but it's more possible than people like to believe. I also think it has a lot to do with convenience and ego. To have someone disagree with me, or worse, to be wrong, is not convenient to me, and it bruises my ego. Were I not consciously living, it would be easy for me to forget that my emotions are my own. It would be convenient not to take accountability for my emotions and actions. I have a moral obligation to evaluate whether my emotions are worth acting on or not. Jealousy, anger, and frustration are good examples of the emotions I'm referring to in this post. I remember reading a post a professional doula wrote about her competition a few years back. I remember this post because it changed my perspective on the people I felt were my competition. Usually, when I think about competition, I think of a negative event. This wasn't the case with this doula author. The doula had written all the reasons why the other doula was her competition. She described how the other doula was good at what she did. She explained how she wanted as much business as she could for herself, but acknowledged the reality that she was only one person. She went as far as saying that she was happy to have someone as great as her competition providing her services as well. Could these two doulas already be friends? Possibly, but that's not my point. Let's not forget that jealousy, anger, and frustration exist in friendships too. My point is writing someone off and menacingly acting against them because they are different or believe differently from me is the easy way out. The hard part is accepting the people who are different from me as they are and choosing to establish harmony with them. Looking back to the beginning of my post, I know harmony is the correct term to use because it can exist even between two mature opponents. Cheers to living with the beauty difference brings.